Hello, and welcome to episode 129 of the Gamers Lost Park podcast. That's right, we're back from our summer break and we're ready to pod. And joining me this week is two of the hottest and the sweatiest gamers there is. It's Mr. James Thomas and Steve Carter.
Well, I mean, after a month off, is that the best intro you could come up with? I don't know whether to be flattered or just...
It's not the best.
I thought that was really good. I was, I had that was my top of 5 today. I was like, no, I was there working it out. All my hard work.
Hot is fine. It's the sweaty. Admittedly, we're all glistening on Skype here. It's a very shiny podcast.
The comedic pause in that was genius. It was comedy gold, I tell you. It was comedy gold. Hello, chaps. How you doing? James, how have you been during our break?
I've been good, yes. Just recuperating after the epic E3 pods. I think that was the last time we showed our faces. And yeah, it's been good. Spent some time in the sun. I think everyone has to have done. In Britain, it's been a ridiculous heat wave recently. But we did escape it at the weekend. We did the Crystal Maze.
Wow.
I'm not quite sure for our international listeners how well this transfers, but the Crystal Maze was a 90s TV programme hosted by a bald man in a leopard skin jacket. And it was amazing. You run around different time zones doing puzzles in locked rooms. It's very weird when you say it out loud, but we got to go to the London one at the weekend, and my God, it was all my dreams come true. It was beautiful.
Really? Was it cool? So did it have all of the different zones, so the Aztec zone, and then you got to do the big crystal ball at the end?
Yes, yeah, we started in the Aztec zone and like running around in the sand, running around the pillars. Then we went to, futuristic, and then medieval and industrial. It was everything the original show was. But I think the great thing was that they didn't, although they recreated the actual sets and the games themselves, the host they had running around with us, they weren't trying to ape Richard O'Brien or Ed Tudor Pole. They were their own bizarre personalities. So at least it meant, there was a character leading you around, but it wasn't a comic. It wasn't trying to just be an impressionist or so, which I think elevated it, because it meant, this lived on its own and had your own experience then. But it was great. There was 8 of us that went down. A few people, friend of the show, Manny, and others joined us along. And it was great. Got to do a couple of challenges, came away with a couple of crystals, so I'm feeling very smug about myself.
That's so cool. Did you get to keep the crystals?
No. Well, you could.
No, I was going to say, that would be cool.
If you deposited £10 in the gift shop afterwards, you could.
Right. So you haven't got one sitting on your desk at work right now?
Oh, we came away. We did buy one. We can't do this and not do that. But it's sitting on our mantelpiece, showing our success. Because we went into the dome at the end of it all, and we won. They sort of pitted 4 different teams against each other to try and collect as many gold tokens as possible. And we managed to get the most. 10 crystals between us, 50 seconds in the crystal dome, and came away with a ridiculous number of gold tokens. So all was great until I lost my wedding ring in the crystal dome.
Oh no!
Yep.
How did you do that?
I went up to grab a whole load of gold tokens, and as I did it, I just felt it fly off my finger. I mean, it was warm that day, so I'm going to blame a sweaty finger, as it just disappeared off into the distance, and my heart just dropped. Like I could. Thankfully, I'd had that 5 seconds prior to enjoy being in the crystal dome with the fans flying and the tokens whizzing around me, and then that was it. I just was mortified. I think Ali is going to kill me. She's taken it reasonably well. They think they found it a couple of days later, so I've just got to try and get it sent back up from London. But it took the shine off things, to say the least.
Holy moly! Wow, see, that's just crazy. It's really interesting because looking at my wedding ring, this sucker's not coming off. I've obviously kind of put a bit of weight on since I got married, but you must have you must have lost a few pounds, James, for that to just fly off
at the moment.
Yeah. I've got happy and contented weight now. Happy and contented weight. That sounds amazing. That sounds really cool.
Yeah, it was honestly. If anyone's, I think there's one up in Manchester, Steve. So the north is satisfied as well.
I have to have a go over. And when Antony, when you come up for work, when you come for one of your meetings, maybe have a pod stay out.
Yes, absolutely.
Stay out.
It's quite interesting actually because I've got a team building kind of couple of days in Manchester at the end of August, and I didn't know there was one of these there because people were bounding around the ideas of throwing axes. That was kind of one of the kind of ideas.
No,
catch this.
Conflict resolution.
Yeah.
I hate the way you manage projects and then just throw an axe at someone. So that could just be, that could be really good fun. That could be like doing the kind of Crystal Maze could be a laugh, and a real team building exercise.
Yeah, and you can get the employees you don't like locked in. So, win-win.
At last, HR said I couldn't do that, but now I can. At last.
I can't lock them in the office, I'll lock them in the maze.
Yeah, exactly. So, Steve, how are things with you in the last couple of weeks?
So nothing as exciting as going to the Crystal Maze, I must admit. I've been trying to survive the heat, if I'm being honest. I feel like I've just been trying to do everything I can to avoid being outside, really. Bizarrely, it's been quite warm up north, which is probably a bizarre concept for most people. Just today, I think I sent a message to the WhatsApp group. We had a thunderstorm just before starting, so that was always good. A bit of a torrential downpour, some thunder and lightning, so that was exciting. But yeah, they've just been quite quiet, really. Just catching up with a bit of gaming. I've played the occasional game of cricket on the weekend, so standing out in the sun, unfortunately, in about 26, 27 degrees with no shade.
Wow.
So that's always been fun. Yeah, so I'm just a glutton for punishment, clearly. Just stupid, I think is the word. But yeah, it's been quite quiet, really. It's been quite quiet. We've booked a weekend to Cornwall next weekend, though, so that's always exciting. We love going down there. So going for a long weekend down to Cornwall. So hopefully the weather will be nice again for when we go down. Hopefully we don't get the rain on the weekend we go down, which will be typical. So I know it's supposed to be a bit of a dodgy weekend this weekend. I don't know what it's supposed to be like down there, but yes, been quite quiet, really. Yeah, just been enjoying a nice bit of calming post E3 sort of downtime, really.
Yes.
There's not a lot been going on, has there, really?
No.
Just been nice to kind of chill out, just wind down, just catch up on a few bits, a bit of reading, bit of Netflix, and that's about it, really.
It has been sort of like the lull after E3, hasn't it? It's like news sort of evaporated. Because I think for 2 weeks we were sort of like, shall we do a pod? It's like, well, what's the press releases we can drag out the mire to bring up as news? It's like there's nothing really there for us.
It's like, what news is there? What news? But it's quite interesting. Speaking of Netflix, kind of during that time, like, because there is, like, I think I've shared on the group, this is the very first time in my kind of gaming life that I'm experiencing a lull. I've never had a gaming lull before, and it worries me, and it worries me still. And I know I've got Overcooked coming out soon, and there's some really good games. And this is my problem. I look at the kind of winter schedule and the autumn schedule. There's so many good games coming. I'm like, why can't we have Spider-Man now? Why can't we have that game now? Because I'm just so I'm kind of playing games, but I'm just hopping even more so than I do. I've had a couple of releases have turned up from Boomerang, and I've played them for a day, and I'm just gone, no, this isn't catching me. And it's just really weird, it's just bizarre. I played some Detroit Become Human, and I didn't like that because you were just walking around doing chores. I played some Ni no Kuni. And that was still like kind of like I didn't like. Yeah, exactly. It felt like Ni no Kuni 2, and I didn't like the way that they were chirping in all the time, and it was just annoying me. And I'm finding it strange at the moment. So I have gone to Netflix to kind of watch some programs, and a couple of programs that we've watched kind of in the time. I finished Luke Cage season 2, which was fantastic. Luke Cage season 2. It's amazing. It's even better than the first one, I think, and it's so good. The music in it, the acting, the storyline, I just really have enjoyed that. Got to the point where we're watching 2 or 3 a night. Have either of you guys kind of jumped into this kind of Netflix Marvel U?
Nah.
No.
Okay,
There's
right.
so much to watch.
moving on swiftly. And then the other thing that I've been watching is Sugar Rush. Now, Sugar Rush is bizarre and bonkers. So Sugar Rush on Netflix is basically a cooking program. It's an American, you can't even call it American Bake Off because it's not really. It's just an American cooking program. And they have 4 teams of 2 people, and it's cooking against the clock. So they have 3 rounds. They have the cupcake round, the confectionery round, and the cake round. So
I love that, the cupcake round.
The cupcake round. So the judges are the woman who created the sprinkles cupcake world in America, and then there's this Australian guy who's Zumba, who does confectionery. Yeah. So he does confectionery. So he's really cool. And then they have a guest, and one of these guests on one of it was Colin Hanks, who's just a dude, and he was just like a mini version of Tom Hanks, but he's a dude. And so you have 3 hours to start off with, and the quicker you can do the cupcakes, the quicker you can do the confectionery, the more you bank for the cake round, where they give you another 3 hours. So it's kind of a race against the clock, and it's really cool. It's a bit over the top. Some of the cakes are terrible, but then the winner of each episode wins £10,000.
Wow! So they're not professionals; these are sort of amateur bakers. Nice.
Yes, they all own bake shops. They all have kind of this, like, I'm from this bakery, or it's two friends or something like that.
Like a nice twist on the usual sort of bake-off style approach to it all. Because have you seen Nailed It, either of you two?
Yeah, I watched the first episode of that, and then I just wanted to delete it from Netflix.
It's the most hideous program, because I think I can't remember if we discussed this before. Apologies if there's a repeat, but it's a cooking show that's there to set up people to fail. Like, it brings on people who are the worst, who can't bake, who can't cook, and then try to get them to do something ridiculously bespoke. And then, shock horror, actually also they don't give them enough time to do it properly, and then they come up with this just mangled, like, weird echo from an alternative universe version of the thing they were supposed to make. And it's just awful. It's awful, because it's also hosted by a really just mouthy host who I can't stand, and it's just tacky and tasteless as far as I'm concerned. So it's nice to see there's another show that I can try and jump on, see if to get me through to Bake Off in a few weeks' time.
Yes, it's a weird one. Like, after the first episode, Nicola and I just sat there and was like, do we like this? We're not quite sure. It's almost like it's not as good as Bake Off. It doesn't make you feel as happy and warm and cozy as Bake Off, but it's a fun program to watch. And we just like watching it while, just kind of as a kind of relaxing after work, kind of just de-stressing a bit after work before we kind of like do some other stuff. And it's I think there's only 8 episodes in this season, and there's one episode where they absolutely fail in a huge way in their cakes, and it's it's funny. It's funny. The time at the start of every single episode, they always go, right, we're going to do cupcakes in an hour. Hour and 45 minutes later, they're still kind of deducting their time. So it was fun. So a couple of Netflix. Luke Cage is really cool, and that was Sugar Rush. And then the other thing was I went to see Incredibles 2 as well.
Ah, grand. Any good?
It's really good. Really, really good. We watched the original Incredibles the night before we went, and it was so good. It just follows on from the original movie. So it's literally that scene where the Underminer comes out. It just carries on from there.
Cool.
And it's just amazing. But the effects and the CGI and the detail has just been increased by how many years, by 10 years, so it looks so much better. But it's such a... They didn't do the normal sequel trope, which was like, oh, these things are really good, so we're going to work just on that.
Yeah.
They just kind of continued with a very good, incredible story. And it was really good. Really bizarre short beforehand, that it was just absolutely bizarre, which had a lot of people gasping at one point in the cinema during this short, so which was hilarious, about a little woman and her dumpling baby. And so a little dumpling comes to life. It's all about empty nest syndrome, and the little kind of dumpling comes to life, and she just it's very bizarre, it's very cute, but it had a lot of people gasping at the cinema. And if you've seen it, you'll know what bit I'm talking about. So it was very, very bizarre. So that's what I've been up to. So yes.
Grand.
So should we jump into what we've been playing?
Yes.
Over the last couple of weeks, Steve, what have you been playing during our break?
So mainly, I've been playing Captain Toad on the Switch, which is another slate, if you want, a re-release for the Switch from the Wii U, but I think it's a good move, because me personally, I missed it on the Wii U. Sorry, I'd funnily enough got rid of the Wii U before that came out, because it was clear there was nothing coming out for it. So now's a great time to jump back in, and it's a lovely little game.
Yes,
it's fantastic. It's so good. Everything is so cleverly designed, and everything has a purpose, and it looks so nice. And I know it's only it's only another Mario game, so it's not the most demanding graphically, but it just looks so nice on both handheld and the TV. And it's the first game I've played in a long time that I've actually played in docked mode as well, because pretty much 99% of my time playing the Switch is in handheld mode, but I've actually been playing it on the TV as well. But yeah, I just love it. It's great, and it's just it had me fooled at one point because no spoilers, but it didn't really make it clear it was divided into chapters at first. So I'd finished the first chapter and some credits started and I'm like, huh? What? And I was like, I'm sure I looked at the back of the case. There's 70 levels here. I've only done about 15. So I was a bit confused to start with, but yeah, I love it. Like I say, everything's there for a reason. Everything has a purpose, and everything's cleverly designed. It's just that whole 3D world, just having to flick the world round, and having the sort of the cube levels, and then just the odd occasional level where you have to travel down a minecart and things like that. So yeah, it's really good. I'm really liking that. So I've been playing that. I believe you scooped it up, didn't you? Yeah.
I did indeed. Yeah, no, just a couple of questions for you. It's just like, how does it play on the TV mode? How does it play in dock mode? Because there's some touch screen, isn't there? There's little things where you need to kind of touch the screen every now and then. So how does that play?
The bits where you have to move the obstacles, for example, where you swipe up and down, they're controlled by like the motion controls, which I must admit I'm not a great fan of, because if you play with the Joy-Con separate, I imagine it'll probably work quite well, but I like having them in the dock. So I've still got the original dock to play in controller mode.
Yes.
And then you have to inevitably point that, at the screen to waggle it about a little bit, and you can reset where the pointer is, because if it goes off centre, you just press the right stick in and it resets it. But to me, that's a little bit awkward. It's not as obviously inevitably it's not as seamless as if playing on the sort of in the portable mode with touching the screen, but. It's just, I don't know if there was any way they could sort of integrate it more, perhaps, in terms of it give you a little prompt, for example, just to press A while Toad's next to it, just to move it up or down, for instance. Yeah. I don't know. But it just doesn't feel right. So, apart from that, though, it plays quite well. I quite like it, but it's just that little sort of niggle, really, just having that. But it's good to see it in the big screen to, have the sequences where you have to find the little pixel Toad. In this, when you've completed the level, it's good to see it on the bigger screen so you can try and find him wherever he's hiding. But yeah, just the motion controls don't really do it for me.
That's really cool. And I mean, I've been playing it. James, you played it on the Wii U, didn't you?
Yeah, I played it back in the day, and I enjoyed it. I did enjoy it. It was the kind of game that I could play because it's cut up into bite-sized chunk levels, which I appreciated. But I could only find I could play 2 or 3. And then just needed to do something else. So it was a game that I couldn't play for huge stretches of time, but it was great just to fill little gaps here and there. So I can imagine it on the Switch being even better for that, as you just flick it into standby, then pop it back away, do something else. But I enjoyed it, but not enough to pay for it again. So I think unless I see it in a sale, I'm just going to skip on by for this one. But I appreciated what they did with it. Like I love a good puzzle game, and so the way they took effectively I hate Toad with a passion, so I won't say loved character. They took a love franchise and then gave it a little bit of a twist to give you something different for it, and I appreciate what they did there, and just really shook what you think about platformers. Actually, it's not a platformer. You have to do a bit of Monument Valley, twist and turn, and up and down. Yeah, I enjoyed it.
So when you guys were playing, because I'm doing exactly that, just kind of playing a couple of levels on the train, kind of whether I'm going to or fro from London or whatever, and are you guys kind of trying to get all of the stars or all of the kind of the collections in the first go, or do you replay the levels, or is the idea to just kind of get everything in one sitting almost?
For me, I try and get the gems. I think you get the gems in the start at the end, don't you? So so I try and get all the gems where I can on the first go. Then obviously, I think, is it at the end it's revealed what the bonus objective is at the end?
Yes.
So when you finish level and you go back to the main, the sort of the episode screens, as it were, it tells you what the bonus objective is. So I quite like doing that, going back there, and then doing the pixel Toad as well. So if I can do it all in one, then great, but for me, I'm just trying to get sort of all 3 gems in one go, because the 3 gems kind of progress you on to the next stages, don't they? So, for me, I'm just trying to get with all 3 where you can. But some of them, it does have you a little scratch in your head sometimes. Just wondering which sort of trying to move the levels around. Moving the sort of the adjustable scenery, the sort of like the monuments, the pillars, that sort of thing. So where I can, I'll do it. But yeah, it's not like a must for me, really.
Have you gotten Nicola's mentality where you must get everything before moving on?
I have, but then I give up on it. Like, I don't have the sort of the attention span or the sort of the willpower to carry on doing it. So I'll start like probably the first 5 I did. So like, yeah, I'll do that, and I'll then move on to the next one. Because like I'm like you, I like to do a few at a time, then leave it for a while, then go back the next day and then do a few more. So
yes,
I don't sit and play it for like 3 hours or 2 hours, like I would any other game. But yeah, I start with good intentions. It's like with sort of like achievements and trophies. I'll start with good intentions of trying to do that, like grinding for that. Then I just get bored. So as long as I can keep progressing, I'm okay. But I don't have to rinse every level before I move on now.
Because I was trying it. There was a couple of levels where I've kind of been playing it, and I would go in, I would get a couple of gems, but I wouldn't be able to get to the last one. And I'm like, I don't understand how I can get to that. So I would then come out that level, but then go back in and just aim for that gem. And then if you got that gem, then you would kind of over those 2 goes get all 3. And I just wondered if I was playing it right, or whether I should try and before I get the star, try and make sure I get all of those gems before I come out, which obviously adds an extra level of complexity, but quite a cool little kind of extra kind of like try in that level.
Yeah, because some of them, when you've made the sort of the adjustments to the level, you can't always go back necessarily, can you? So
no.
There's a couple of levels where if you
pickaxes and things. Yeah.
So if you miss a power up in terms of destroying the wall, then sometimes I do want to restart it, or I might purposely sort of get killed just so I can start again, because then it's like no. But yeah, because if you get to sort of like say use a pickaxe or something, so yeah, there are occasions where I do it, but yeah, it's it can be quite challenging in terms of spotting everything.
Yes. I think the first time I got a pickaxe, I just kind of spent the entire time that the pickaxe was kind of moving around going, look, I've got a pickaxe, this is awesome. And then I realised it was part of the puzzle. And I was like, and then, that was like restart. But like I say, it's a great game to like just jump on the train and just listen to a podcast, and just on the way home just kind of just de-stress. So I'm quite enjoying it. I'm gonna keep it for a while, because that's a boomerang rental for me at the moment. But I'm gonna see if Nicola likes it. If she likes it, then it's what, £30, isn't it, on Amazon?
Yeah. Well, I picked it up for £30. Yeah, because I bought it, which I think, £30, considering I've not bought it before. You know, I didn't mind, for someone like James who has bought it before, then fair enough, I understand that. But for somebody who hasn't played it, and inevitably a lot of Switch owners won't have played it before, £30, it's pretty good, considering you've got the new levels as well that they've done based on Super Mario Odyssey as well. So
yes.
there is new content in there, so that's always worthwhile as well.
Excellent stuff, superb. I've been enjoying it. Like I say, I think I've been switching between, no pun intended, I've been switching between kind of like Captain Toad and Mario Tennis. Especially while Wimbledon was on, I was playing a lot of Mario Tennis on the train. I was just enjoying that. So I've been going through the adventure. I think I said on the last part, I think the adventure is hard as nails, and in Mario Tennis, it's really hard. But there's some great. You're in a kind of haunted mansion, and you've got to kind of like take out some mirrors. That was a really good one. It took me a while to do it, but I really got into a rhythm and just like really enjoyed it. So it's great. I love it. I love that you've got kind of like you've got both of these games. You've got Mario Tennis and Captain Toad, kind of from the Mario franchise, just kind of really kind of running the Switch at the moment.
Yeah. Have you been playing that with the motion controls, or is that with just the controller? Or
no, just handheld mode. I was thinking about the other day. Unfortunately, we got really busy at work on a Friday. I was thinking about just kind of like breaking out on a Friday kind of afternoon and playing a bit of that, because I thought that would be quite fun, kind of fun thing to do, especially now we have a big meeting at like about 10 o'clock until kind of lunchtime. I thought it'd be really good to kind of post one of those meetings to just kind of break out some Mario Tennis.
I thought you meant you could break out during the meeting then. Just like, yeah. And what have you prepared for today, Antony? Well,
have you got any changes or any project updates? Well, I'm going to play Mario Tennis. That's my project update. So yes, no, it's really cool. What else have you been playing, Steve?
So the other thing, which is a boomerang one for me, is Lego Marvel Superheroes 2.
Oh right,
which
awesome.
Is also on the Switch. I think pretty much everything this month has been the Switch, which is really bizarre. Since I bought the X, I've been playing quite a lot of Sea of Thieves, but I haven't played a lot of it recently. So I've been kind of just looking to the Switch. But yeah, I've been playing that on there as well. So it's another Lego game for me, which is just kind of my bread and butter these days. I'll just kind of scoop them up and play them. not as much so as a purchase for me as they used to be. It's more of a rental these days for me now. Because I think the main criticism which I accept is that they're very, very similar, aren't they, in terms of what they do. Fair enough, they're different franchises, but you're doing the same thing just as a different character, aren't you? They've all got the same powers and abilities pretty much, but it is what it is in terms of, it's a nice, relaxed game. You can just sit there and play it, and you don't have to really pay much attention to it or the story. Because in this one, they've kind of gone a bit off-piste, haven't they, with the story? They've kind of done their own thing, really. I think one of the things I tweeted, which I think James responded to, is that the voice actors aren't the actual official voice actors of the movie characters, or the actors, sorry, which kind of offsets you at first, but then, with the licensing, things like that, you kind of understand why.
Just imagine that paycheck that would have to go out to get all those characters in, because the Lego rosters aren't small in that sense either.
No, like 200 characters or something, all licensed, and,
Well, there's less now since Infinity War, but the thing that they always do normally, like with Lord of the Rings and Harry Potter, is they just take lines from the movie, don't they? But I guess because they have gone off-piste, because they have gone kind of away from that story, that's why they've kind of got these standing actors. But so with the Switch version, do you get any of the DLC that comes with it as well?
I don't know, in honesty.
Okay.
I haven't actually looked at that, to be honest with you. And obviously, with it being a Boomerang rental, I haven't checked the box, to be honest. So I don't know, but I'm not sure. It's a good question, actually.
It's just that they've been doing things like Black Panther. They've been doing Guardians of the Galaxy. Yeah. They did Ant-Man and the Wasp, which is out in the UK next week. But they had it out in time for the US release. So there's just things like that. So they've been kind of adding, as the movies have been coming out, they've been adding to that game, which I thought was really cool.
Yeah, I mean, they are part of the story. Obviously, the kind of the entirety of the superheroes. Black Panther's there, Guardians of the Galaxy are there. The Avengers are there. Mm-hmm. That every character is there, so I don't know whether that means the DLC is in there or not. I'm not sure, but I've probably played about 4 or 5 hours of it now. But without knowing if it's DLC, I wouldn't know if it is extra content or just part of the the standard game without actually looking into it. So I wouldn't know, to be honest. But it's something that's worth looking at now. You gave me something to look at. So,
does it look good? Does it look good on the Switch?
Yeah, I like it. I mean, there's noticeably when it gets a bit busy on the screen, it gets there's a bit slowdown, which I think is inevitable, really, especially on the portable mode. Sorry, when there's 1,000 Lego bricks on screen and several Lego characters running around, the frame rate gets a bit choppy and it does slow down a little bit. But yeah, apart from that, it's nice and shiny. It's like it is. It's shiny Lego bricks, but you can tell that it's not as sort of polished, or the detail isn't as much as it would be on like the Xbox or the PS4. But again, you accept that, and you don't really need it on a Lego game. So, but for what it is, I like it. It runs perfectly fine. 99% of the time for me. So, yeah, I'm enjoying it. I like it.
Awesome.
And again, I've played that a bit in docked mode as well. And again, perfectly fine in dock mode, and it looks nice on a big TV as well. So, yeah, I'm enjoying it. But yeah, it's quite good because it's still got the it's still got the humour of the Lego, the TT writing and the scripts from them. Albeit, like you say, they've not got the lines to go off of from the movie, but they've still captured the sort of the elements and the personalities of the characters from the movies. So there's obviously like Rocket's personality and Steve Rogers' personality, and Tony Stark, quite arrogant and sort of thing. So they've managed to encapsulate that in the game as well. So they've stuck true to it where they can. Which is good.
That's awesome. That's superb. Yeah, I mean, when you were saying about kind of looking good on the Xbox and PS4, I was quite surprised to see that pop up in the Xbox One X enhanced section, because when you look at your pins or you look at your kind of what you've got on your hard drive and you filter out for the Xbox One X enhanced, I was quite surprised to see the Lego game there, because it already looks good. But yeah, no, that's kind of enhanced on Xbox One, so that's cool. Anything else that you've been kind of wrestling around on your Switch?
Just the one other thing is the Octopath demo, which I downloaded and tried, albeit very briefly. I think I got it on your recommendation. I think you mentioned it on the WhatsApp group there, because there's a 3-hour timed demo on the Switch for people, and it carries over your choices and you save and your progression into the full game if you don't
that's nice.
Actually buy
I love it when they do that.
Yeah, so it is a timed demo from, like, I don't know whether it's when you actually first load it up or actually start the new game or not, but yeah, it's like an old school sort of Final Fantasy look about it, hasn't it? It's kind of that, not sort of fully pixelated, but not kind of full sort of like the graphics that we're used to today, but it looks really nice. It looks really, really nice. It's kind of a HD sort of Final Fantasy 4, 5, or 6, isn't it, in a way? But yeah, it's kind of that sort of 2.5D, I think you'd say it is, really, wouldn't you? Because it's not kind of a side scroller, but you've got the sort of the depth of field in there as well.
Yeah.
But not knowing much about it, I didn't realise that the name Octopath is basically you get a choice of 8 characters at the start of the game, and obviously their own paths and stories, go their own way, then intertwine and etc. So you can choose one of 8 characters which have their own abilities, personalities, attributes, that sort of thing. So you got your standard RPG fare. You've got your archer, your mage, your warrior, that sort of thing, and your healer. So yeah, you get that choice when you first start, which is quite good. Like I say, I've not really made it far into the demo, but it looks really nice. Again on the handheld mode, the portable mode. The script is a bit sort of. They've tried to kind of go a bit oldie worldy in the script, so they've kind of added a few uths and uns on the end of things. So like looking, I'll go looking over there or something. It's just. Just sort of a random words in there, which doesn't always work.
Because old worldy or bad translation, we'll find out later. So.
It depends which one they've gone down. But yeah, so like I say, there's sort of a few extra ns and ths on the end of things. But yeah, it seems to be one that's going to be sort of a great title to get your teeth into. It's clearly got a lot there. With the replay value of playing 8 different characters, going back and playing again and trying it a different way. So yeah, admittedly, like I say, I need to go back to it because I started it and I haven't got very far into it. But I'll be interested to see in the 3 hours how far you could actually possibly get. Without. I think the danger is because it's a new game that you might just waste a lot of that 3 hours just wandering around aimlessly, and then it comes to I'll venture out a bit further, and it's like. No, that's your 3 hours. Sorry, done now. So I'm trying to be as quick and efficient as I can, but also trying to explore as well, just to see what it's got beneath the surface and how deep of an RPG it actually is.
Yeah, I've really liked what I've heard of this as well. Like the more I hear people tell me about how like the 8 different characters intertwine, and so I go back and forth, and you have to try and find them with other characters to unlock them. It seems like it's quite an open world. I don't know whether you can just complete the game with the first character, but the fact you use that first character to find the second and like that nice ripple effect with it, it's interesting. It's interesting. I like it more than the hey, let's just get a band together and just run off and kill a dragon or something. It sounds like they've got proper 8 different people going towards something rather than teenage angst that seems like so many JRPGs.
Absolutely, and the art style of it just looks absolutely amazing because you have, like I was just saying, Steve, it's that kind of 2.5D, and it has a really kind of almost a static background, and the backgrounds have a different look or different aesthetic to the main character as well. So it really does, it really just blends itself really well. It's definitely something that I'm going to do the same as you. I want to really get into that 3-hour demo and then make my decision at the end of that or whether that this is for me. And I think I need to be in a better headspace and not in my lull space that I'm in at the moment, where I'm just kind of jumping from game to game if it doesn't instantly grab me. But I think, they definitely think it could be a game for maybe like a long travel or something like that, where you just kind of, sitting on a plane for 10 hours and you just kind of get into that game. And I think something like that would be really cool. So I might be banking Octopath Traveller for like August or, autumn, rather than not August, autumn. Because if I'm banking it for August, that's a week away. So I'm banking it for autumn or something like that. It does feel like a very autumnal game.
Yeah, that's it. It's not something you could just play with like Netflix in the background or something. It's one of them where you'd have to be watching what's going on, because even just I think it's a good thing, but also an annoying thing is that because there's a lot of script and a lot of literature in the first like opening sequence, is that I felt like a lot of that 3 hours was going to be sat reading. So it's like it's great that how much there is there in terms of backstory and introducing your character, because I can't remember her name, but the character I chose was the Archer, because I used to do Archer as a kid. So if there's any chance to play as the Archer, I will go for it. So, but her master, I think it was, or whoever she works for or something, went on a hunt a year ago and he's not returned.
Right.
But then that kind of plays out a sequence where you have the conversation with him about him going away, being worried about him saying he'll return, blah, blah, blah. Then about 6 to 7 months into the trip, I think you get a letter saying that the hunt is not going as well as he first thought, and then you don't hear anything from him since then. So it's a year to the day, and then you obviously decide that you're going to go try and find him and discover what happened to him.
We're waiting 6 months to go and find him. It's like, oh, well, I'm worried, but maybe we'll come back.
Not that worried.
I'll give him a while. Yeah. I'll give him a while.
I've got something in the oven. Was I supposed to be doing something?
It's not WhatsApped me in a while. So, yeah. But yeah, I felt like quite a significant period of time was chewed up in terms of just reading and watching, but which, like I say, is a good thing because it's great. There's that much depth.
Yes.
In terms of character building and filling the world, but also in terms of you are on a timed demo, so you don't want to spend 2 hours of the 3 just sat reading and watching things happen. So yeah, but like you say, it's definitely something that you need to give your full undivided attention to, rather than just going, I'll just sit and watch, a bit of Sugar Rush or something in the background while I'm playing it like you do. So yeah, so I'd recommend doing it when you're in a bit of a better headspace, like you say.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. Like on a plane, you can't do anything else, and you're just kind of like, that's it. You're just throwing yourself into it. So yeah, that's my plan. That's my plan. But like I said, I still want to play a bit more of the 3 hours, but I'll probably end up replaying that if I wait until autumn. So yeah. So cool. Have you been playing anything else, or has that been your kind of lot?
That's pretty much amount? It. Just this. Yeah, just the Switch keeping me going for now, I think. Yeah.
What about you, James? What have you been playing?
Well, way back, I think just after we last recorded, I started looking at Moonlighter, and we were very kindly sent a code by the devs, and it's like a top-down RPG, sort of roguelite, sort of dungeon crawler, and the twist is that you are not only just an adventurer, but you are also a shopkeeper. So effectively, to fund your adventuring, or maybe you adventure to like fuel the stock of your shop. It's hard to say which way around. You have to go raiding the local tombs, taverns, caverns in search of monsters to basically beat them up and get some ichor or armor to put on your shelves, which other adventurers will come in and then buy and give you money, so you can then go off and upgrade potions or upgrade the town and then go back adventuring. And I really liked it. It was a really nice, neat loop to it all that gave you just 2 completely different styles of play. Because the top-down sort of dungeon exploring was very much like Zelda of old, or maybe Binding of Isaac. So you were running around the screen, stabbing things with swords, maybe upgrading your sword as you went, and that was really satisfying. Again, roguelite, so each dungeon was different, with the aim to get down to a big boss and defeat them before moving on to the next dungeon, bigger, better, more expensive things. But then you balance that with the shopping system that I thought was really, really sort of not overly deep, but it was interesting to explore because you weren't told what the proper prices were. So you didn't just put like some magic beans on sale for 25 gold. You had no idea what the market was. You had to put them on there, guess a price, and then see how the market reacted.
Oh wow!
And so it really allowed your brain to have to shift into a different gear and go, okay, well, this was selling well yesterday, but I don't want to flood the market. Maybe if I keep this back for a few days, it'll be scarce. And it gave it a really nice little twist. So you had 2 completely different flavours of gameplay. I really enjoyed it. It came out.
That sounds awesome.
Yeah,
that sounds really cool.
I need to jump back into it though, because about 5 days later, Jurassic World Evolution came out, and then it was goodbye free time.
Didn't stand a chance.
It was goodbye everything that is a Jurassic World.
Goodbye life.
I put in 40 hours into that game within about 2.5 weeks, so it was just
wow.
Ali basically was very kind and just left me one Saturday, and I was there just on the sofa when she went out at 9. And about 5 o'clock, she came back, and I was still there in front of the TV. It's like, no, I did move. I did get some toast for lunch, but then
I nipped to the loo and then came straight back.
Honestly, it's like Jurassic World Evolution just ticks so many boxes for me. For one, Jurassic World, although I keep calling it Jurassic Park, and combine that with a theme park builder, and it is just chill out. Me. The hours will disappear. I cannot play just 20 minutes of that thing. I just sit there and try and plan the perfect park, perfect pen, just try and wait for money to go up, send expeditions off. It just was fantastic. And I was there getting every single dinosaur, trying to make my herbivores paradise, and it was utterly bliss. Because I think you played it as well, didn't you?
Absolutely, yeah. Though I'm still playing it, I'm still kind of like jumping in every now and then, and I love it. I've unlocked 2 islands now, so that's kind of where I am. I'm about halfway through. But the thing that I loved was it was very relaxing, and it was really lovely until someone broke out, until a dinosaur broke out of the pen, and then suddenly starts eating your guests, and it all gets a little bit stressful. On my second island, I hadn't built the capture and return area yet. The guys that would come out and do it. So I had something on the loose that was just rampaging all my guests, and I didn't have enough money to build it. It was just.
Did you build
so
a shelter
at
least? Did you have a shelter where they could hide in?
Yeah, I quickly threw down some money and had a shelter. So I was like, just go here, everyone go here. But it's
the suffering round. I'm not trained to deal with this. I've not taken the qualification. I've not done the course.
I wasn't supposed to be here today. It was just really cool. But I've really enjoyed it. It was I can see, James, why it's kind of right in your wheelhouse of kind of games of kind of ticking all the boxes. Did you remember rightly? Did you get all the achievements?
Yeah.
I think you kind of went for Achievo, didn't you?
Yeah. So I basically wanted to get all the achievements just as an excuse to play it more, because you mentioned the islands there. I thought it was chunked up really nicely because it's got 5 main islands, and you start on a really basic one with a fair amount of cash, and allows you to explore the very basic systems, some of the safer dinosaurs, and allows you just to find your feet. And then as each island comes along, it adds a different challenge to it. So they might add storms, they might add a really weird shape island, so you have to really think about where you put your dinosaurs or your attractions. And so it really builds up into nice thing. But even that, very early on, they open up a free play island. I think it's if you get you get rated on each island. If you get 3 out of 5 stars on the second island, you just have this free play mode where it's unlimited money and you can just go nuts. And I really appreciated the fact that they put that in there. I didn't go for that because I preferred the challenge of doing stuff, and so I went through the 5 islands, made sure I got 5 stars on all of them. There's different challenges in each of them as well, so I made sure I maxed out the science, the security, and the entertainment challenges in each of those. And then I thought, I need something else. I wasn't ready to quit, and so I basically went through the entire achievement list, which was along the lines of just do everything. Just do everything you can. Like, build all the dinosaurs. And it is literally build, let's face it. It's build all the dinosaurs. And then even do weird things like pay homage to the films about like taking a photo of a T-Rex as it's chasing a goat. Just getting 2 raptors to talk to each other and again take a picture of that. But there was lots of nice little nuggets that I got to find out by trying to 100% the Chivos.
That's just so cool. No, I really did. There was something about that game that just really, it just felt right. It just felt like it was that relaxing game. I must admit, I think I restarted it twice because I just kind of got it. I just didn't click with it to start off with. I was like, no, I'm doing it wrong again, and I restarted on the third kind of start. This was only kind of half an hour, maybe in 20 minutes as it's taking you through. But on that third time, it really did click. So I was glad that I didn't just mosey on with a bad save and try to make the best of it. I'm glad I started. I went, no, I get it now, so I can now start. But I did find, I don't know about you, but I did find myself kind of the arming or the military kind of side of it was the last one that I did. You have science, and I didn't want to weaponize the dinosaurs. I was just like, I was all very kind of, I don't want to do that. I want to do science first.
No, I felt like this is I'm only doing some of what you're asking me for the achievements, which I'm sure deep down that's probably like a Jurassic Park lesson. Like, I'm messing with dinosaurs for my own personal gain at this point in time. I deserve to be eaten horribly at the end of a film somewhere. But yeah, there were in-game challenges that say, maybe go and research this dinosaur, because you can send off expedition. The way you unlock dinosaurs is by sending researchers off to dig sites. They dig up the fossils, and then you get the DNA. Get enough DNA, new dinosaur. So you get science experiments like that. You get entertainment ones, so maybe get your visitors up to 5,000 or something like that. And then you get the security one going, Why don't you get two dinosaurs fighting? The crowds might like it. No, I'm in this for the love of dinosaurs. I'm not pitting two of them against each other to find out who wins. I'm just like, get an assisted win. What is this? Do I start having to drug the other one so it starts getting beaten up far more easily? This is a cruel, twisted game.
Cattle prod it.
Yeah.
Put lasers on your dinosaurs. That's what you need to do.
Although you need a flamethrower T-Rex. That's what you need.
I did right at the end, as I say, with like the free play park, unlimited money. One of the achievements was release one of every sort of dinosaur. And by this point, I hadn't kept track of which ones I hadn't released. So I thought the safest thing was, well, let's just release them all. So I built a giant pen with about 20 different like incubation stations around it. Made sure that all of the 50 dinosaurs were like ready to go, and then just went round releasing them all. It was like a dinosaur battle royal. I was just there watching which one was going to be left at the end of it all.
Wow.
It was an utter bloodbath. It was just, the amount of corpses and crosses and little error messages I was getting popped up asking for, like, a new corpse has been found. No worries about that, because something's going to mess up the next one and kill that. There's going to be another one. I'm not cleaning up this just yet. There's going to be a bigger mess soon. It was...
Wow, you really were Hammond from the books, weren't you? It was really like you really were that kind of disgruntled.
I did that while Ali was out, so she didn't think worse of me.
Yeah. Life finds a way. Life finds a way. But surely that's what that achievement is, to create. I mean, I must admit, the first time one of my dinosaurs died, I was really sad. My Triceratops bit the big one, and I didn't know why. And I was just like, so you have to like lift it up, and it just disappears into the distance, just gets craned, and I'm like,
put it in the bin.
Yeah, you just hear the giant crunching in the back. It's got the pinata syndrome though. You have the option to name your dinosaurs.
Yes,
and I only did that once. Because
you got too attached.
Yeah, well, it's the euphemism. Like, the great helicopter came for them from the sky, and so just took them off. There goes Tricky. Oh.
A sad version of the Jurassic Park theme playing really slowly, rolling a tear. But it's such a great game, and that's definitely kind of one that I just want to continue playing. But no, I'm so glad that you kind of sat down and just kind of played all of it. That's just like such a great nod to everything that you like. Really, it's awesome.
I think I'll close and say, like, there are definitely deeper, like, park sims and theme park games out there, definitely deeper ones, but I think you said this was just chill. This was the right level of difficulty. As you say, dinosaurs escape, you have to try and manage your money, weirdly shaped islands, but the benefit you were getting of just seeing these herds of dinosaurs running around, like having a huge plain with like a couple of brachiosaurs running around next to some compies and not compies, sort of triceratops and all sorts of just like herbivore dinosaurs that were just roaming around. That just made me smile so much that it wasn't pulling teeth to get to that stage. So yeah, it's good. It's good.
That's so cool.
And the final thing I've been playing is Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice from Ninja
interesting.
Theory. This was really pushed by a couple of friends at work who were recommending it to me, and it's an interesting one. It's a game all about a warrior woman with sort of mental troubles, and it's depicted in a really interesting way. They say up front, wear headphones to play this game, because she hears voices, and so much of the atmosphere and just her tale is told through the voices that she hears in her head. But it's not just like left-right stereo. You can hear it's just popping in all around her. And there's just a myriad voices that sound panicked or scared or try and encourage her on. It's really effective, really effective. And that part of the game really makes me want to see more, just be dragged through to find out what demon she's battling or how they're going to affect her as she goes, because she sees things that maybe not everyone else in the world does. So there's so much about this game that I want to play and I want to like, and you can probably hear there's a but coming. But the actual core gameplay isn't grabbing me. There's like
oh no.
There's a portion where it's a combat. You've got a sword, duck, roll, slash, slow-mo time. It's all right. It's functional as far as I'm concerned. And then there's a second part where you have to try and match symbols in the world to open gates, or maybe overcome some of the illusions that she's seeing in her head. and they're fine, they're good, but again, there's nothing that's really drawing me on. They're nice puzzles to be done, but they don't have quite the same impact as the storyline. I almost want to just like skip past this puzzle and see more of the story. So I'm half tempted just to whack it down to easy, walk through the combat sections and try and sprint through the puzzles, because the core concept is so powerful, so well presented. It's a great, especially audio, it's a great package.
Wow, that's superb. When I saw that kind of pop up on your list, I was like, I was interested to see what you think, because I've heard some really good things about it. Like, you have to play it in headphones. Like, it's a really good story. Like, it tells a really powerful story. So I was just wondered what that kind of the beat to beat gameplay was like. So do you think it is something that you could just put down on easy and kind of, like I say, enjoy it?
I think for the combat, yeah, and I think almost for the puzzles, I'm going to treat it like I was mentioning with Toad earlier. I'm probably going to. I dipped in for 20 minutes the other night, dipped in for half an hour on Sunday, so I think it's something I might just eke away at. Because the puzzles are generally interesting. Like there was a fire god to begin with, and I had to find out where it's almost like the fire was in your mind, and you had to chart your way through the fiery maze to get to the exit. And now I'm in the world of Illusion, where you have to try and find out where the fake walls are to get to certain places and discover signs and stuff. But I can only take one or two, so I think I will just keep chipping away, because the story is what is hooking me.
Fantastic, superb. And it looks amazing. The game looks, when I've seen kind of trailers or screenshots, it looks stunning. It really does look like a really good game. Yeah,
the facial animations are particularly great. And I think they can do it because there's not that many, well, there's only one or two characters on screen ever at one time, so they really put the power behind just rendering Senua herself. And yeah, it has got X support, so HDR, 4K options.
Oh wow, that's superb.
Shiny.
Excellent stuff. Anything else that you've been playing?
Well, we have been playing a bit of Sea of Thieves. I've always, again, embarrassed to bring this up, but I've still we haven't sailed with you for a while, Steve, so we'll have to try and resolve that.
Yeah, I know. I've not been around really. I've not really, like I said, I've just been dipping in and out of stuff. So I've not really sat down and played anything for like a long period of time. But I know I joined your WhatsApp group recently, didn't I? So we'll have to try and get on this little sort of competition that you seem to be you're running again.
Yes, yeah. So we tried a what we've termed going for gold competition. So we've set up a little Sea of Thieves WhatsApp group, and there's enough of us on there to split into two crews. So the other Sunday we had one galleon versus another galleon, and in 2 hours we had to try and get the most gold possible. We were basically just pitting friends against each other for the sake of money and progression. And you and I were on the same crew, Antony?
Yes, we were. We randomly picked crews, but you and I ended up on the same crew.
The amount of engineering in your spreadsheet to randomise those numbers was mightily impressive.
Did you like I had the Sea of Thieves theme tune playing in the background as I was randoming those numbers? There was quality in those random numbers.
It was the subtle touches I loved.
But I just thought it was just such a great. It was. I mean, there was James, myself, and we had another person. Shep was on our. So we were three because we had a bit of a kind of a bit of a crew, last minute dropout on our crew. So it was 3 against 4, and that's why we lost. Yep. So it was 3 against 4, and nothing to do with my handbraking skills. But it was 3 against 4, and so we just kind of went at it, to find the best strategy to get the most gold in 2 hours. And I really enjoyed it. I thought it really did add that little kind of extra element, even though we did get we were a little bit sure of ourselves because we had about 5,000 gold and we thought, yep, we've done this. So we went and tried to take on the Skelly Fort and then ended up in a bit of a battle with another ship. Yeah. Exactly, and then we got sunk, and it was just, but it was really good fun. But it was very disheartening when we kind of joined up in a party chat with the other group, only to find that we were about 13,000 behind them. Yeah,
so we chose the tactic of let's just do everything fast, So we put some voyages down on the table and went, let's just do these as fast as possible. So we ran off to islands, did riddles with like ruthless efficiency, went off to the next island, parked 4 miles away from the shore, fired ourselves onto the sea, got the chest, and had to swim all the way back. So we were just at it. We were going, and we're like quite happy with ourselves.
Yes, we really were. We thought we'd got it.
Yeah,
we thought we had it in the bag.
And then the crushing disappointment. It's like, what do you mean you sorted out the quests before you left port to make sure you picked one with the most crosses on it? Yeah, they were just like they were like, no, this hasn't got enough chests. No, this hasn't got enough skulls. And they were just throwing away quests that didn't have enough cash rewards. So
yes,
it's a tactic we'll have to take in for next time.
Absolutely, it's definitely a tactic for the next one. But it was just so much fun. It was really funny actually. There were some mind games because like towards the end, I think we had about half an hour, 20 minutes to go, and they told us on the WhatsApp group that they had they'd done a couple of skelly forts, and that was it. My 2 crew members were instantly deflated, and I was like, "Come on, we can do this.
No points.
As you parked in the middle of the ocean again.
Yeah, exactly. I'm surprised I wasn't left in the middle of the ocean, just like threw me out to a shark. But it was just.
Did you crash though? That's the main question. Did you crash?
You can't crash when you park 4 miles out. No.
Maybe you'll find that strike a balance somewhere. You know. Yeah.
It was
eventually, maybe.
It was just so funny. The amount of times it was just like, no, I didn't tell you to do it now. You know, it's just.
Stop dropping the anchor, Antony.
But I try.
Leave it alone.
I try and be a crew member.
A trigger word. Like you just had to mention the word anchor in a sentence, and you just heard flash.
I was like, there you go. All proud of myself. I'm all proud of myself when I've dropped it, and it's just like, no, we're in the middle of the ocean.
We are nowhere near.
Yes, but it was good fun. And then we had a kind of one of your friends joined in as well, so we were up to 4 at one point. But I felt sorry for him because he was joining the craziness that was us 3 kind of shouting at each other, but it was really good fun. But it definitely added a fun element to an already awesome game. But it was a nice little twist that we kind of come up with. I thought it was quite cool.
Yeah,
so hopefully we'll expect to see that implemented soon.
Yes. Well, I'm just using you as beta testers. This is all this is.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. You just
unofficial beta.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, the great thing about Sea of Thieves is we've got there's many great things about Sea of Thieves, but the great thing about Sea of Thieves is we've got the new Curse Sales that starts in a couple of days time, so the 31st I think. So it's Tuesday we're recording on Thursday, it's Tuesday, so we're already kind of gearing up in the group there to kind of sort out those skelly crews that are kind of coming to the Sea of Thieves, which look absolutely awesome. They look absolutely superb.
Yeah, I think most of us aren't really PvPers, so I'm looking forward to remembering how to use the cannons to take down these bony fellows.
Yes, it's going to be very interesting. I can't wait. So with that, let's jump into the news. Don't forget, you can rate, review, and subscribe to this very podcast 3 on iTunes and also on YouTube. So let's start the news section. And in this week's news, we have Fallout 76 beta news, and also we have the Games for Gold for August. But the first piece of news, James, is with you.
Yes, as just alluded to, I am starting out with the announcement that Fallout 76 has got an beta starting soon indeed. It will be coming this October, which is quite close to their November release date. That's
really close.
They are cutting it fine. But this does sound like it's a proper beta because they are saying that anyone who buys a copy or pre-orders a copy of the game will be entered into a big list, and slowly but surely all of those people will find their way onto the beta, starting on the Xbox One with a handful of people and then growing and growing over time until everyone gets in. It sounds like everyone's going to be able to try and stress the servers, and then I guess it's just see how many people this game can take, which I guess hints further at their online nature, because we've known for a while this seems to be more like an online survival world environment thing, but I will be shocked if everyone who signs up for this knows exactly what they're getting in for. This sounds like it's as much as a taster for the game as anything else. Obviously, if you pre-order digitally, I think it's harder for you to get a refund, but I think a lot of the physical copies might be a try before you buy approach on this one.
Absolutely. Are either you guys going to jump in? Are either of you guys going to play Fallout, or
I'm
waiting?
I'm probably going to wait to see nearer the time what it's like. I'm definitely not going to pre-order it. Like I'm going to wait to see what the people on these betas and the previews actually say it is like, because I really loved Fallout 3. Fallout 4 was good, but it was just more of the same. So I want to see what twist this online survival aspect is going to be, because they've said there is a full single-player experience within it. But how is this going to work? Are you just going to get ganked by another Fallout boy coming over the hill and taking all your rads? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, Fallout's Fallout to me, and I love playing the Fallout universe. I love Fallout 3 and I love Fallout 4. So I want to get it, but I'm a bit with James on this one. I want to see what it's actually like before I commit to either getting a pre-order to be in the beta or not, because we still don't really know how it's going to work. Like you say, we know it's online, but we don't know how it's online. And like James says, we know you can play the full thing solo. They've already said that, but does that detract away from the purpose of the game? Does it detract away from what the game can do? But again, how is it online? Is it a case of it's like Sea of Thieves where there's just certain people in a certain server, or is everybody just free? It depends. Is it like sort of like an endless scrolls thing where there's a lot more people in it? It'd be interesting to see, because in terms of they've said people, the world's dynamic as well, so it'd be interesting to see what people can do to sort of your home, your vault, your sort of progression, that sort of thing, because I think you can sort of build sort of towns and villages in this one as well, I think, from what we've seen. So it'll be interesting to see what sort of interaction they can have with that. Is it permanent? Can they destroy everything that you've built and you've collected, as it were? So yeah, I'm intrigued because I've had a sort of a feeling that Fallout will kind of tap into the sort of the online world, like say the Elder Scrolls, that sort of thing. But how they actually make it happen, it'll be interesting to see, because it's a completely different sort of game to their sort of Elder Scrolls arc, in terms of how the game plays, what you go and do. Yeah. So I'm interested, but I'm still kind of a bit trepidant as well at the same time.
Because I think if they handled the server population well, I think it could really add to the atmosphere. Because it seems like maybe in a hub world that's what was it, Nuketown? Like back in Nuketown, it was. Yeah. You had a few dozen people around. So if they keep the numbers relatively small, I think it could be really atmospheric. Like if you're then out in the wastelands miles away from any of the big hubs, and you just happen to see one, maybe two other what are they? What are the people? Are they just survivors? I can't remember.
Like wastelanders or travellers or something.
Yeah, that could really add to it. But if it's here's hundreds of people and it's just Fortnite, or here's this PUBG just with... I think it could then just ruin the experience.
Yes. Yeah. Well, like you say, if you start building a town and then someone just comes in and just wrecks your town, you've spent ages building this, you've collected, and they just come in and just kind of kick it all over like a spoiled brat, things like that could really annoy you.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I see your point though, like, in terms of it's just coming like a gang of raiders, isn't it? Or something like other. If you just happen to walk past a small village that's populated by sort of dwellers that are hostile. If you walk past a village or a town that's filled by people who are hostile, as long as they're in a smaller number, it would be quite atmospheric and realistic. I think is more the sort of the issue, isn't it? Like you say, because this is sort of you're the first people out of the vault as well. So it's a case of that. Like Fallout 4 is like set 200 years after the bombs are dropped, whereas this one you're kind of a short, is it about 20 or 50 years or something like that? It's quite soon after the bombs have dropped that you actually come out of the vault, isn't it?
Yeah.
So certainly in terms of the numbers, it has to work, because you catch off thousands of people running about when it's like, well, there's not supposed to be any people here. So
yeah, why didn't I see you in the vault?
People yeah, where were you? Where were you? I don't remember you. So yeah, if it's managed, it'll be interesting. But I'm interested to see how the single player works compared to the multiplayer, in terms of what that detracts from if you choose to play it solo. Is it a great detriment? Is it not? Is it better? They've got a lot of explaining to do in the meantime. But it's not that far away though, is it? Really, if you think about it. It's August next week, and like you said, the beta starts in October and it releases in November. So it's only 3-4 months away. So yeah, so we'll have to see what we find out and when as well.
Absolutely. I should think towards when they get kind of closer to the beta, they're probably going to start kind of ramping up with more and more information, just kind of similar to what they did with Fallout before, where you get kind of just more and more snippets, maybe a bit more of a lengthy trailer that tells you that kind of beat for beat of what this game's going to be like.
Oh, on a quick tangent, have you seen the Overcooked 2 trailer? That is a complete pastiche of the Fallout ones. It's amazing. Utterly amazing. If you haven't seen it and you like the Fallout style, please go and watch it.
It's quite funny. Every now and then, I think, we're kind of in our house, Nicola gets excited about Overcooked 2. She gets excited every now and then. Every now and then, she's like, "It's out. When's it out?" And I'm like, "Very soon."
Is it a week? Have we got a week to go?
I think it's about the 7th of August, isn't it? So yeah, so it's not next Tuesday is
it's a touching distance.
Exactly. So next Tuesday is the Sea of Thieves, and then the following Tuesday is Overcooked 2. So we've got Sea of Thieves, Curse House, and then we've got Overcooked 2, and then Nicola starts screaming at me.
Change from me screaming at you. So
yeah, exactly. Yeah. That's it.
Still not doing what he's told. It's a different game.
That's it. That's why. That's my gaming life. Just someone screaming at me. It's just like,
stop shouting at me.
I just want to play on my own. But yeah, though, I'm looking forward to that. It's going to be so much fun.
And so, from one form of online game to the next, Steve, you take us with the next story.
So this is the news that I say news. It's kind of, we already kind of knew this was happening, but Microsoft working on their next Xbox project, which they alluded to in E3.
Mm-hmm.
They suggested that, they admitted that they're working on the next console, which they had to be anyway. It's obvious that someone somewhere will always be working on the next console somewhere. So, and in the same sort of conference, they admitted that they're looking at different ways for people to play and different ways different people can connect. The main one being, like you said, online connectivity and accessing our content in different ways. So we believe that Xbox are working on their Project Scarlet, which is code name for the next Xbox, which looks like Scorpio was for the Xbox as well. So the thing is, they are potentially working on 2 different versions of this next Xbox. Now, it's interesting because we had quite an in-depth and, for me, mind-boggling conversation as to how this next Xbox would work in our WhatsApp group, which it just went into too much detail for me. But my sort of brief under and limited knowledge of it, shall we say, is that there is one console being developed where games are purely accessed via the cloud, sort of like remotely via the internet, and one where part of the processing will be handled by the console, the physical console, and the remainder will be synced with the cloud via remote access via the internet. So it's going to be very interesting how they actually, work this out, how they make it happen, because we've had obviously streaming services before, with PlayStation's, back catalogue of PS3, with their games being on demand, and the OnLive, the short-lived OnLive console that kind of was a bit before its time, I think, as we were talking about again in our WhatsApp group. It worked, but the infrastructure just wasn't there. So it'll be interesting to see how Microsoft pull it off, because this goes beyond just the console as well, because they're actually wanting people to access their games from tablets, phones, other devices. So in effect, you could, if you had a strong internet connection, you could connect your phone to the internet, just boot up your Xbox or the Xbox app, for example, on your phone, hook up your controller and just play on your phone. That's what they're driving for, which I think Manny said is a thing already on the sort of the PC crowd. I think there's something that works like that already.
It was like remoting into his Steam account or something. I can't remember which game.
Yes, it was. Yeah, I think he kind of said he almost got 4K on it as well with the streaming, but it was a little bit chuggy. So
yeah. Well, that's amazing to think, though, isn't it? That already we can almost stream 4K from PC to tablet or phone. It's almost there, isn't it? And the thing is that the future for that is quite exciting to think about, because we've not really, because obviously when the Xbox One first came out, Microsoft sort of went on about the power of the cloud and everything like that, their servers, but we've not really seen that yet. And maybe this is what they're driving towards, is that everything will be dealt with, stored, accessed by their cloud. And how powerful that cloud is yet to be seen. But imagine that if you had a box that was maybe as powerful as the current gen consoles, but then had a cloud system in the background that was maybe twice its power, or even the same power, to help it process and output games at 4K, 60 frames, whatever, be streamed to a phone or a tablet. It's quite an interesting thought and suggestion. But yeah, the sort of the conversation we had, where things will be processed at the front end by the console, then synced and woven in with the background process, and it's like, how does it do that? And is there going to be latency? Will there be a lag? And how's that going to work? And if you're playing online, how's that going to be seamless? How's that transition going to make so no one has an advantage over somebody else? So I think there's a lot of sort of technical jargon and sort of development to be done. And I know James is kind of, his head's already boggled and questioning how it's going to work with his knowledge of the industry.
I think it was I'm trying to find the line in the article, but it was almost the fact that it said, for a low-powered box, it would send off, all your game data to the cloud, where some portion of your game would be running in the cloud, and it would render it out and then send the pictures back down to you. But then it said it would be trying to run part of the game locally so that it wasn't affected by lag. But if you're rendering the picture in the cloud, how is your input that is trying to compensate for the lag of the picture coming down from the cloud going to help that? Because it sounds like you'll be... It just seems, from some of the wording, that there is going to be lag compensation, but it seems a very messy description of where that lag compensation is going to be. Because in a lot of the online games, like Sea of Thieves included, there'll be some sort of client-side prediction, so that while you're moving around with your controller, it will feel like you have complete control when actually you don't. Because the server will be going, no, you can't move there. You've moved too far. You shouldn't be there. So actually trying to bound where you can go. But you don't feel that because you have a certain client-side prediction. Whereas if this is going to try and render it in the cloud, I don't see how that's going to happen. You'll be sending off the picture making to something that has no idea what you're doing. So there's that disconnect. So I don't know whether it's just misreported or there's some really fancy tech that they're about to drop on us all. But even beyond my questions of part of the article is that this seems awesome in one respect, like having a really, effectively having a Steam box, or maybe not that cheap, but under your telly, but then being able to play 4K HDR games and just getting them whizzed down the pipes of the internet to your telly is superb, because that's someone else's problem. Someone else is rendering out somewhere, that's someone else's power, that's someone else's processing units. It could be big, and they could be upgrading it behind the scenes, so you could be getting upgrades before you know it, and even better and even shinier. But then the flip side is someone's got to do that work. Someone's got to try and make that game be basically split into two. Someone's got to have that game that's being rendered and AI and all the sorts of bits that actually go into computing the game up in the cloud, and then split out with the inputs and the client prediction on your little box, which is fine, I think, for the larger studios, because things like FIFA, things like Sea of Thieves, No Man's Sky, everything like that is a server-driven game in some respects. There's online FIFA, so that's built into their engine. But if you look at some of the smaller games, things like, what did I say the other day? Gone Home. Gone Home isn't a server client game. It isn't needed to run on epic architecture somewhere. So maybe they'll still have this on live model, or the PlayStation Now thing where you can just send inputs up into the cloud and the entire game will be run there. Because if not, I can see it being a bone of contention when trying to bring in third parties or indie developers. Because if you have to split your game in that way, then are they going to put the work in to do that? Are they going to actually spend the extra time just to split it into two, where actually with the Switch, the PlayStation, the PC, they can just make it easy and drop it off of a box and it's done? So I think this is supremely powerful, hugely, the fact that you can get mega pixels drop to your box cheaply, for you anyway. Obviously there's probably a subscription model, but then from a game dev side, I have so many questions. I'm sure they'll be answered in time, but it's just these words may make sense separately, but how do they fit together?
You can imagine the first internal announcement, and then James is just there with his hand in the air with so many questions. Yep. I'm like, does everyone have any questions? Yes, I have 42, and this is my first one. But no, it does. It sounds great. I mean, I like that we've got two models. I do like that they're kind of for those who are not ready to stream or maybe can't stream, because I think we're kind of quite gifted between the three of us, because I think you guys have got much bigger pipes than I have. I think I kind of always thought that I was doing well with 65 meg download, but I think you guys are kind of in the triple digits. Are you? You're both kind of fiber, aren't you?
Yeah, I've got 100.
I get fibre, but I think I get about you 65, 70.
Right.
So I'm not to be sniffed at.
No,
but,
God no.
Even still, it's just first world problems. But what connection do you need as well? Like you say, what connection will you need to do that to make it work?
Yes.
It's just because the people say for 4K streaming, they say you need at least 30, something like that.
I thought it was 14. I thought Netflix always said it was 14 to get 4K.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I'm sure it was.
I thought it was more than that.
It could be. Maybe the quality of 4K's got bigger now with HDR, Dolby Vision, all of that sort of stuff. But I thought it was around. Yeah, so maybe you're somewhere between 14 and 30. You've got to but yeah, you're right. And now you've got to do a game running at 4K HDR with all those calculations as well. How big does your pipe need to be?
I don't think it's even the pipe. I think it's the ping is going to be the killer on this one, because I think you could have the biggest pipe in the world, but if it comes down a second after you ask for it, it's not going to play nicely at all.
Yes,
I think this is something like this is going to require data centers spread around the world. Because if you're sat in Seattle, or next to a server farm, you're going to have a really nice connection. But I've played Halo remotely to a very basic machine in Seattle, and that was special. That was like, you had to always try and predict what you were going to do at that point in time. Just try, right, I'm going to swing, hopefully 30 degrees. Okay, that's locked. Okay, now I'm going to shoot a bit. How did that... Okay, just compensate. So if the lag's too much, it's gone. But we've seen already with online, with Mixer, that there's ways of coping with that. And actually, Mixer's a really good point, because I guess like you've recently seen as well, like PlayStation and Xbox have had controller sharing. So you can play someone else's game, and that works. That you can see it's working in the real world now. So actually, it's probably closer and better than we actually think. We've had the opportunity to play a lot of these systems already, I guess.
Yes, because way back when I did that, I think I reported on the podcast when it was back when I was playing a lot of Arkham Knight. It was Arkham Knight, where a friend of mine was having some struggles with Arkham Knight on PlayStation. So I just kind of watched him play, and he was still kind of having that trouble. So he just went, "Could you kind of help me?" And I took over gameplay, and I managed to get through a very tricky part of Arkham Knight, very Twitch controls, working on a remote machine, which just blew both of our minds. Being my friend Kenny, he's kind of a real tech nerd like me as well, so that just kind of blew our minds. The tech that was behind that. I think you're right, James. You said that the possibility of this and the tech that's going to go behind it sounds awesome. Just sounds incredible. But I don't know. I'm not going to be skeptical straight out of the gate here first hearing this, because I would like to hear the tech that goes behind it. It's like the Xbox One X. Look at the Xbox One X, about what that does to games right now. Any kind of old games, it's rendering. You're seeing these games that were back in Xbox 360, and you're seeing them look amazing now, and some really good frame rate as well. And not only just looks, not only just textures, but also locking frame rates at maybe at 60. I think Ghost Recon Advanced Warfare, which kind of came out as backwards compatible recently, that looks incredible. That looks, as an old title, the game looks absolutely amazing. So I love the idea of the tech behind this, similar to Xbox One X, and I love that Microsoft are pushing that tech envelope. I just want to hear more about it. I know Phil Spencer spoke about it at E3. He did he kind of said that, and in some other interviews he was kind of talking a little bit more about it. But yeah, I can't wait to hear what the tech is and how it's going to work.
Yeah, I'm actually just quickly skim reading another article on the same thing, and I don't know if the first one that we all read was slightly confused, because it does seem to be, the more I read about this one, it doesn't try and say there'll be like local compensation in the streaming box. So right. I think the first one might have caught a few buzzwords and then fired them around, but yeah, this
it got the words, but put them in the wrong order.
They got so excited that we got an exclusive. Quick, put them out. Do they make sense? Quick. No.
Right, 500 words now. Yeah. Randomize them.
Yeah,
do it.
So yeah, if it is pure streaming, this is an interesting way. But so if it is streaming versus a big box with a huge GPU in it, which one would you get?
For me, I'm big box, local, big GPU, as all those kind of. That's me at the moment. I don't think I'm ready for streaming yet. What about you guys?
I'd be the same. I think it depends how it works, doesn't it? And like I said, it depends on the sort of the infrastructure that you need. If my current current broadband will hold it, then by all means. And again, it's cost as well, because that's something they've said is that the costs for this will be a lot cheaper than obviously the current consoles, because there's no upfront costs as much, because you've not got as many parts, there's not as many pieces to it. So it'll be kind of how much is the box, and then inevitably how much is the subscription as well, because we'll have Games Pass, which will still be a thing. But does that now mean that the price of games digitally will drop? Like we've been, people have been saying for a while now that if we are going digital, should digital games now be cheaper than actual physical, or at least on par with physical games, because a lot of them are more expensive still, aren't they? So a lot of games are still a significant whack in terms of going out and actually buying the physical game. So I think that the associated costs as well will sort of dictate. So have they mentioned anything about having a disc, sort of a disc drive in it anymore? Because I've not seen anything about that, because I've not seen if this will be, because I know they were trying to sort of not kill it, but sort of push people away from sharing discs, weren't they, in the Xbox One, and they got rid of that. So I wonder if that's kind of now their push to say this is the end of disc.
It's hard to say. That was a completely different management at the time, and I think Phil is more of the gamers, so I can't see, especially seeing what the reaction was last time, a box without a disc tray in it.
No, I can't see I think Xbox is kind of quote unquote losing this generational war because of that kind of opening gambit that they went and with the lockdown and I think that kind of caused more problems than it kind of solved. So I think the next Xbox is going to have a hard drive. It's going to maybe the streaming one will have a disk drive and a hard because even if it's streaming your games, maybe it might be locally playing Blu-rays or Ultra HD Blu-rays or whatever, but I can't see them kind of going, this is a download box only. I mean, I'm almost 90% digital. I think it's only my subscription to Boomerang where I kind of end up playing kind of stuff that's physical, but most of the time I'll just download digital now. I just prefer it, and the fact that we've got multiple rooms with multiple Xboxes, we can then kind of move around the house as well, and it just fits my lifestyle. And I think, and also just it's quite nice just to be lazily laying on the sofa and just being able to switch around different games without having to worry about kind of getting up and putting a disc in. And I think I like the digital world that we're in now, including kind of movies and games and music. It's just all of it is really kind of digital. So I'm hoping that Microsoft they will continue doing the physical, because not everyone's like me. But there's definitely kind of that push more for the digital age. So then, speaking of digital games, segue. This is about our third segue. Is that we have just before we went to Pod, we had the announcement of the Games for Gold. So the Games for Gold that are coming out in August 2018 on Xbox One and Xbox 360. It's quite a good list. It's quite a good list this month. We've got some really good titles that are kind of coming out. I have been told that it's the best games in gold for a while. So I reached out to a friend of the show, Wee Man, and he said it was the best games of gold for a while. And the reason that it's the best games of gold for a while is that we have so coming on the 1st of August until the 31st of August, we've got Forza Horizon 2. So getting ready for Forza Horizon 4, which is kind of getting closer and closer. We've got Forza Horizon 2 on Xbox One. So I don't know if this has been kind of Xbox One X-ified, because I know the original Forza Horizon has, and obviously so has 3. But Forza Horizon 2 will be coming out free with games of gold from the 1st to the 31st. And then on the 16th of August until the 15th, we've got For Honor. So the kind of hack and slash, kind of brawl 'em up, kind of competitive game which came out. It's a Ubisoft game, isn't it? It's a Ubisoft game kind of for Honor. Is coming to Xbox One as well. So they're kind of some really good titles there. Some real triple A's. Forza Horizon 2, which was great, and For Honor, which I kind of played for a bit. And I think Manny is very much kind of back into that game. And I think last time he was on the pod, he was reporting about it. And so that's free. So we can all kind of jump in with Manny now.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to trying For Honor, because listening to how Manny's been playing with his workmates on it has actually given me more I think, more gusto to actually try it. Like, hearing that personal review, because it came out to a bit of a muted response as far as I was concerned. But as with a lot of Ubisoft titles, it seems to have had the support over the months and now year, I guess, at this point. So they haven't let it drown. They have tried to throw as many life preservers as possible to keep it floating. And maybe this is the next step, actually putting out for free to see if they can get any more people in for the next season.
Absolutely, because they have done a couple of free weekends in kind of typical Ubisoft fashion. They have done a couple of free weekends where they've had like available, the same as they do with like Rainbow Six and things like that. And so that's kind of been there. But yeah, no, it's really good to see this. I think they had a bit during the Ubisoft conference at E3. They did say that they're kind of bringing out the next kind of wave, and they've got samurais and some more kind of more characters that are kind of coming to it. So maybe it's coinciding with that. And as you say, James, it's like capturing some extra people that are maybe kind of curious and just waiting, like us, really, kind of just we'll jump in, have a look, it's free, kind of check it out. So that's Forza Horizon 2 and For Honor, which are coming out from the 1st of August to 1st of August, 31st we've got Forza Horizon, and then 16th of August we've got For Honor. And then over on Xbox 360, but playable on Xbox One with backwards compatibility, we've got Dead Space 3. So Dead Space 3 will be available from the 1st of August until the 15th of August, and then rounding out this month we have from the 16th to the 31st, we've got Epic Mickey 2. The Power of 2, I believe the subtitle of that is. But Epic Mickey 2 is also coming out. Has anyone played any Epic Mickey games? Have you guys played those? Jumped in?
No, I haven't, I must admit.
I think they were the ones that looked interesting, but never...
Yes.
I'm not... Mickey is recognisable, but not recognisable enough for me to go, yes, that is a must-play because of that mascot.
It's someone's... There's some big game dev that's behind them, isn't there? And I cannot think of for the life of me who it is. It's
I want to say Warren Spector, but I think that's...
Yes.
Is it?
No, it is. It's Warren Spector. It is Warren Spector. Yeah, yes, that's it.
The Google works out, yeah. Wow.
I'll just keep chatting while you...
So,
but
sorry,
it looks really good.
Off Google now.
Google now. It is, isn't it? It's Warren Spector.
Quick bit of research.
It's Warren Spector. I'm sure it is Warren Spector.
It is.
But that's just like, yeah. That's really cool. That's really cool.
So, that's obviously like a love project to that one.
So much so that he made 2. He loved it so much he made 2. But I think that's a really good like kind of Games with Gold month. What do you guys think?
It's quite strong, isn't it? Because I think kind of with the lull, I think the last sort of batch of Games with Gold was a bit sort of questionable, wasn't it?
Yes.
There wasn't anything that you'd have to jump at, but I think all of us here have played Forza Horizon 2, with our love for the Forza Horizon series. So anyone playing that, who hasn't for some reason tried that yet to get them into gear for Forza Horizon 4, that's a perfect game to do it. And For Honor, I'm like you guys, I've not touched it necessarily, but with hearing how Manny has been sort of reignited by it recently and how he's been playing it, it's for free. You can't not give it a go. But yeah, the Dead Space 3 is, albeit probably arguably the worst out of the Dead Space trilogy. It's been gone for quite a while now, hasn't it? The Dead Space series. So, just to go back and play that series will be quite nice. So, kind of leaves that lingering thought of will we ever see it again, doesn't it? So
I don't think it's lingering. I think that the question's there, and then the answer's no. No.
Yeah, well, yeah. I know, it's a shame. It's a shame, isn't it, really? If you think how good sort of 1 and 2 were, in particular. Yes. I think 3 lost its way a little bit. I think it went a bit too sort of Lost Planet-y, if memory serves me right. You actually go off the ship in Dead Space 3, don't you, if memory serves me rightly?
Really?
I think you actually...
Oh,
yeah,
wow.
I'm sure it's that one where you go actually start playing on a sort of like a frozen planet, don't you, I think? Wow. So, I think you actually break free of the confines of the ship of the first 2. So,
call me weird, though. I'm quite happy when a series ends, and so it... I think when we get permanent sequels of everything, eventually it will just lose its way and we'll end up hating it. So I appreciate things definitely. Like Dead Space that was there, or Lost Planet that was there, and maybe by the third one it was getting ropey, but it's just managed to, like, it's still got its dignity. It's standing there, we still respect it. It's not that, oh god, here we go again. It's not just trying to search for bullet points to put on the back of the
Assassin's
box.
Creed and yeah. But yeah, no, I agree, and I think that's probably the criticism that we've got at the minute of the current gen consoles, isn't it? That we're kind of the Sony and Microsoft are relying on the same sort of franchises when it comes to sort of E3s and Christmas lineups and things. So I agree in that respect, yeah. But it's nice to see new things out there. But I think in a way it'd have been nice to see sort of the series finish on a sort of a higher, higher higher finale, as it were.
Yes,
than Dead Space 3. But yeah, I'll play it, for free, and albeit, Epic Mickey 2 again for free. Why not? If there's nothing else to play, then jump on. Yeah, give it a whirl.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the other Dead Space games are on EA Access at the moment, so I think you can actually kind of play them via EA. I'm sure they are. I'm sure I saw them when I was rattling around looking for something to play the other weekend. I'm sure kind of went to EA Access Games Pass. I'm sure that they were in there, but. I almost at one point...
First world problems, I have nothing to play.
Exactly, I have nothing to play. All these hundreds of games, I have nothing to play. I hovered over the install button of Mass Effect and Andromeda.
Oh, my word.
But then I took myself aside and had a good word. Yeah, wasn't that... It's not that bad. It's not that bad. Just play Viva Pinata. It's not that bad.
You should have just played Fortnite.
Exactly, yeah. Oh, speaking of Fortnite...
Fourth segue on the bounce.
Fortnite has been doing great guns for Epic, so much so... not them. Forbes and Bloomberg have announced that they reckon that Epic Games is now worth $8 billion following Fortnite recent success. And to give you an idea of where that's gone, when Tencent... purchased 40% of the company back in 2012. It was only valued at about $800 million then, so they've had like a 10-fold increase.
Wow.
Not least because Fortnite is on course to generate $2 billion this year alone, which is utterly nuts. Utterly nuts. Because let's face it, even, 8 months ago, Fortnite was nowhere. Everyone was talking about PUBG. And in that short space of time, somewhere at the start of this year, Fortnite just started ticking over, taking off, and has just accelerated into this behemoth that has made CEO and founder Tim Sweeney a billionaire in the same swipe as well. So it's utterly nuts.
Oh my lord.
Another favourite stat of this, Fortnite actually managed to rake in $3 million in a single day. Earlier in the month when the new season started, and has been averaging roughly about $1.5 million even since then. So these are ridiculous numbers that Epic are spouting around at this point. So either of you have shares in Epic?
I wish I'd have got them at 800 mil. I got them when they were low.
Yeah, cashed in on that.
Yeah, wow. I mean, it's quite interesting because we haven't really spoken too much about Fortnite on the pod. It's kind of one of those things that's just been kind of swelling around, but we haven't really kind of addressed it, really. I mean, have any of you guys jumped in? Steve, I think you have, haven't you?
Yeah, I've got it on the Switch, and, I begrudgingly played it on the Switch, because I've staved off. I've kind of, no, I'm not playing it, and then... it's free, it's on the Switch, let's give it a go. And albeit when you're playing it in portable mode, it makes the Switch sound like it's going to take off. The fan. I was playing it in bed one night, and then I just heard this sort of high pitch, and I was like, what's that? And then it was the fan of the Switch going, just because it was working overtime.
Wow.
But yeah, I've played it on the Switch, and it's not actually that bad. It's not. My main worry was that it's too fast paced for me. You watch these people flying around and building all these towers and things. And as we speak, if I look out of the window, I can probably see the people living out the back of their kid playing it in his bedroom, because at the minute I'm going out and watering the grass every night, just trying to resuscitate the grass, and I can see him playing it and hear him screaming at the TV playing Fortnite.
Oh
and it's
my god.
Yeah. So it's not surprising that how much money it's generated, because literally every kid everywhere is playing it. The floss dance is the new dab, Anyway, you see that there's a kid doing a floss dance, there's just someone flossing somewhere, it's just ridiculous. My niece does it, but Anna's niece, Annie, she just, while she stood there talking, she'll just start floss dancing instead, it's like, what are you doing? She doesn't even play it, and she knows what it is. Antony doesn't have a clue what this is right now. He's like, what, flossing? Is she just cleaning her teeth? What do you mean?
What is this floss dance?
Never
Google floss dance.
You never feel older than when Googling a trend, don't worry. I've been there.
Yeah. So you can see why, and it's free to play, and it's got these sort of, has got in-game purchases, but it's all cosmetic. None of it gives you power ups. It's just for different skins, outfits, that sort of thing. So it's nothing. If you jumped in now, where it's been out for a few months, you wouldn't be at any great detriment to it because everyone would just be running around in different sort of skins. Not necessarily any higher powered sort of levels or guns or anything. So yeah, it's not bad. It's not bad, but it's just not my sort of thing. You know what I mean? I can see why kids get hooked on it, because it's just that, it's addictive. I can see why it's addictive because it's that sort of 1 out of 100 people, sort of like PUBG, just been the number one. And the mod that I've played is where it's 2 teams against each other. It's 50 versus 50 or 40 versus 40, whichever it is. Which I prefer that because then you can actually, there's some sort of tactic to it beyond just running around and just randomly
hiding in a bathtub,
knocking into somebody. Yeah, just sitting in a corner like I'm watching the numbers dwindle to like 50, 40, 30, and then sort of creeping out at the end. So I can see why people like it. I can see why kids like it because it's kind of that sort of appealing nature in terms of, like, say, with dancers catching on with the kids, and and it's kind of an easy looking game in terms of it's quite cartoony in a way as well.
Yeah,
so,
probably brushes the right side of the cartoon violence by a smidge.
Yes.
Yeah,
because I did a careers talk at primary junior. They were between 7 and 10. So just giving like an idea of what careers you can do in games to give them a view ahead. And as I do, especially with the younger age groups, it's like, who here plays games? Like, obviously loads of hand goes up. And the amount of hands of Fortnite, it's like, you're 7. You're 7. I would sound like curmudgeonly, but did your mother know you're playing?
Yeah.
But that's it, though, isn't it? I think with that cartoony style, they can get away with that. And I think I've been. There's some people at work where they're talking about their kids are playing kind of Fortnite, and it is that. It's, it doesn't matter because it's just a cartoony game. It's not like Call of Duty. At least he's not playing Call of Duty. And I'm like, but the principle's the same. But it's very interesting that they kind of get away with it. But you can tell that Fortnite is coming into the populace because you just see it everywhere, and everyone starts blaming Fortnite, isn't it? It was just like there's
I've seen that already.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
my kid does this because of Fortnite. Fortnite is turning my child into a monster. It's like, no, spoiler
that's the
alert,
thing. It's kind of it's kind of sort of a scapegoat at the minute, isn't it?
Yes.
Oh, my child's not doing his homework. He's addicted to Fortnite, and there's blah blah blah. That's more an issue with your parenting, I think, than the fact that the child sat there playing the Xbox all day. So that really irritates me. I'm not going to get off on a tangent, a tirade, because I'll be here all evening. But yeah, when I see it on Facebook, like, my child refused to go to the toilet and he didn't brush his teeth because he played Fortnite. It's like, well, just turn his console off, snap the disc.
Snap the disc!
Take the fuse out of the plug, just do something, get him away from the TV, go give him a football, make him play outside, for God's sake.
Next week on the Lost Spark Pod, we have Extreme Parenting by Steve Carter.
Yeah.
Three grumpy men shout at clouds.
Yeah. So I can see why it's valued at that much, but $3 million in a day.
That's amazing.
That's just it must be just bathing. It must be bathing in like $100 notes, just like and what.
Yeah. But they've given something back, because there was the announcement the other week that on the Unreal Creators Store they changed the percentage that they are giving developers. So 70-30 is usually the split, with 30 going to the platform holder, whereas Epic, I think, was 88-12. And they're backdating the pay as well. But you can now see how they can afford this. This is just... That is probably, as you say, just like a pittance. Just, Tim Sweeney's probably got that in his back pocket.
Yeah, it's loose change. Yep. 'Tis but loose change.
Take it. Mop your face with this 50.
Yeah, but the train's clearly going to keep going, though, isn't it? The Fortnite trains are going to keep going and going and going. It's on that many platforms now, and like I say, with new seasons, new maps, different characters, different weapons and whatever. It'll just keep going. Well, why would it stop when it's earning that money? Why stop? So it's the kind of the ultimate team, isn't it? Of sort of the shooter, the equivalent of ultimate team for FIFA. So nice little cash cow. Yep. Nice little cash cow. But but moving on to other Fortnite related news. Anyway, let's have the fifth and final segue of the evening.
Awesome.
There's been an unofficial Lego Fortnite dub, which I actually really quite like this idea. There's been a video doing the rounds of somebody sort of doing a Lego themed version of the Fortnite genre, which, if you think about it, it makes perfect sense. There's you're building, you're destroying, and then you're fighting people. So it's just like any other Lego game, but just on a Fortnite platform. And I think this would be really good. I think this would be so cool if they did this. In terms of having all the Lego characters, different themes, different worlds, then different sort of, like say, building like Lego fortresses and towers and, shooting Lego cannons and lasers at each other, I think that'd be awesome, and like I said, this is sadly an unofficial video.
Oh, no, that's a shame.
It's been made by Barely Regal, using the sandbox construction game Lego Worlds, so it is based on one of the Lego games,
right.
But not an official sort of thing about it, but I think they'd be silly not to do this, personally. And in honesty, would it take them that long to knock it up? Really? In terms of if they wanted to sort of cash it, if they wanted to cash in on it, why not? So come Christmas, we might have Lego Royale. So yeah, but I'd love that. I'd love that on the Switch. Just playing.
I could just imagine 100
Royale.
minifigs just rushing together, just like hand slapping. And just different
just
heads
so
and
much
legs
fun.
flying off in different directions.
Lego swords and Lego broom and things like that. Chucking a Lego banana at somebody. So, yeah.
You can pick up someone else's head and just put it on yours, and now you're kind of like a clown.
Walking like a stack of heads.
It would just be so... Oh, God, that would be even better. You'd be like kind of like Boba Fett wearing like a Wookiee bit. You'd have just other people's heads kind of connected. Because they did Lego Rock Band. Did you ever play Lego Rock Band?
Oh, yeah, that was amazing. I loved Lego Rock Band.
It was great. It was so good.
Playing a skeleton playing the guitar, why would you not want that? Why would you not want that?
It was so much fun. They had really good music in there as well. They had really good selection of music, because they were obviously trying to appeal to all ages, but it was a really good selection of music, I remember. It was really good fun.
I can remember running away from a T-Rex at one point as well, which was always good.
Yes. Yes, I'm playing the guitar running away from T-Rex. You're like, I love games.
This is the epitome. Nothing will beat this moment right now.
So that's just that's an unofficial mod that's in kind of Lego Worlds that they're kind of building.
Yeah. So it's a shame that it is unofficial, but maybe it'll give them the sort of the impetus to, or maybe a bit like
hire
PUBG,
that
maybe.
person.
Yeah, that's it. Maybe it's a bit like PUBG. They can sort of spin it off and make it its own thing. Who knows? But like you say, just having any of the Lego franchise that has already been done. Just driving around in a sort of a Batmobile as Harry Potter or something. And then just casting spells or shooting lasers at somebody's red beard. It's who knows? Who knows? But yeah, that Fortnite I can get in with.
Yeah.
That I'd be more inclined to play that one than the actual one. Floss dance is optional. But
I did actually, while you were talking, I did actually Google floss dance, and I now know the car. I've been seeing people do it on Twitter and stuff, going, "Why is everyone doing this? What is this?" And now I know.
Yeah.
It's
You're going to be doing it now.
I guess it's a shame we haven't seen him stand up while you were talking, Steve. He hasn't actually tried to practice it in front of us yet.
Yeah. When he's finished recording, he's going to go jump out on Nicola and just start flossing in front of him and get it horribly wrong. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Getting it all back to front and not kind of doing it.
How
I'm like,
did you injure yourself, Jess?
Yes, I was listening to Taylor Swift and I was doing the floss dance. Put that on the My HR form. Right. And on that lovely note, that is about it for this episode. Big thank you for listening. Guys, thank you very much for pulling up mics.
Pleasure, sir.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Don't forget, you can keep up with us at gamerslostspark.com. You can also find us on Facebook. On Twitter, we're at LostSparkPod. You can find us on YouTube and also Gamers Lost Spark, PS4 Community and Xbox One Club. James, where can people catch up with you?
I am Big Sheep on Twitter, Xbox and PlayStation.
Excellent stuff. Steve, where can people find you?
So I am Steve Carter 91 on the Xbox. I am Cartero on the PlayStation Network, and then at Steve_Carter 91 on the Twitter sphere.
Fantastic. For me, I am Chessman on Xbox Live and Nintendo Switch, PS-Chessman on the PlayStation Network, and Chessman UK on Twitter. Don't forget, if you have any feedback, please send it to our email address. That's feedback@gamerslostspark.com. So that's about it. We will see you next week. Say goodbye, guys.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye. That's very lackluster. Say goodbye, guys.
Goodbye!
Bye!
Nailed it. I've already got a sweaty leg already. It's horrible.